So you had been considering purchasing a small power station and you've done your homework and you've decided on something like this Bluetti EB3A. Great little power station, capable of an awful lot. Certainly it met your needs at the time when you purchased it. But now things have changed. Maybe you've decided to do more car camping, and maybe you've added a 12-volt refrigerator to your camping kit. And now you're discovering that although this will run the 12-volt refrigerator, it just won't run it for very long. So what are your options? Well, one option would be to go back and invest in another power station that has even more capacity, maybe one that has the ability to add an additional battery to it. But then you check the prices on those and realize, I don't know. Is there another more affordable option? Well, here's an option that I came across that I think you might be interested. How about adding a 12-volt lithium iron phosphate battery like this one from LiTime? If you're interested, keep watching. All right, just before we get started, I do want to thank LiTime for sending out their 12-volt 100-amp lithium iron phosphate battery so that I could share it with you. Now, they did also send out this charging unit, which allows you to keep your battery charged up, of course. I'll talk more about that in a few moments' time. So I mentioned in the opening that one reason for considering purchasing a lithium iron phosphate battery like this one is to extend the runtime of your smaller power station. And I will show you how to do that in a few moments' time. First, I want to just focus in on the battery, talk a little bit about it with its specifications, then we'll hook it up to the EB3A, and I'll show you how you can extend your battery time. All right, when your package arrives with the battery in it, you're going to receive not only the battery, you're going to receive an envelope like this with a whole lot of literature and a couple extra pieces of hardware, mostly for replacement terminals and the like. Now, you're also going to need some means of charging this battery up and recharging it on occasion. So it's a good time to look at one of the chargers from LiTime. I'll talk more about that one in a few moments' time. So let's just talk about why you may want to choose a lithium iron phosphate battery like this one from LiTime. So to start with, it's exactly that. Lithium iron phosphate technology is not only the safest on the market today, it is also the one that will last you the longest. So this is not prone to explosions or fires. You don't have to worry about acid spilling out. You don't have to worry about charge and recharge on this. You can take it all the way down to zero and all the way back up to full capacity without any damage or shortening of lifespan for it. And in fact, you can do that upwards of 4,000 times before it starts to lose any of its capacity. And then slowly, after 4,000 full charges, it will start to reduce the amount of capacity it will hold. But it will take years before that even happens. Now, a user like me will probably never see that in my lifetime. However, if you are somebody that's using this in an RV on a daily basis, on a sailboat, or maybe for a trolling motor, and those are all uses that these are designed for, you might run up towards the 4,000 over 10 years. That's what the average expected lifespan is about 10 years, 4,000 charges. Now, here's the other thing. It is a 100-amp battery, but what does that mean in terms of extending the power of your small power station, or extending the capacity of your small power station? Well, the small EB3A, like mine, has approximately 300 watts of storage, or watt hours of storage in it. And that will work for most things that I want to use it for by itself, but if I'm out car camping, and that's the example we'll use, and I'm running my 12-volt refrigerator and I have a solar setup, but it's just not getting enough to keep the battery charged, then I can add something like this 12-volt battery to it, and this one specifically will add another 1,280 watt hours. That's 3 times what the battery capacity is for the EB3A. So I will have 4 times the original capacity that I can draw on, and hopefully maintain the charge in this, either with the charging unit or with solar. And there's a few other options we can talk about. Another nice thing about buying one from LiTime is it comes with a full 5-year warranty. So that's good to know. It kind of gives you some confidence that the battery is not only going to serve you, but it is backed up by the company as well. All right, a few physical specifications, then we'll move on. First off, they're not light. I'll tell you this, it's much heavier than the EB3A, as it comes in at 21 pounds. So it's not a light unit, but this is all battery. There's nothing else, just battery in this. And that's why it's no bigger than the EB3A, but it doesn't in itself give you AC power. It doesn't have an inverter or anything. Now, size-wise, of course, all this is going to be in the video description for your reference as well. But it is 10.23 inches in this dimension, 6.61 inches in this dimension, and the height table at the top, 8.22 inches. Now, it is an ABS, a flame retardant ABS plastic used on the outside of this. And one of the things you want to know is, what about protection? And this has a waterproof rating of IP65, so that's a dust-proof, waterproof rating. You can't run this submerged underwater, but it'll run just fine in the rain without any worries about short circuit or other damage. All right, just one or two more things I want to mention about the battery before we bring the charger in. And one of the things that's really key about the current technology, especially with lithium iron phosphate batteries, is the fact that it has a built-in battery management system. So what does that mean to you? Basically, the battery is smart in the sense that it knows how much current is being drawn off it or fed into it, either way, and the battery management system will protect the battery, and there's a whole list of protection criteria that I'll be putting in the video description, of course, and it will protect it, one, from discharging too far down, and it will also protect it from being overcharged. So that's basically what you need to know. Beyond that, you can look at the specifications to get the rest of the more detail. Now, the other thing, and this was kind of important to me because I have an alternative use for this battery I'll talk about in a few minutes' time, and that is the operating temperature. So batteries, lithium iron phosphates, do have a range for operating and for charging. So what you need to know about this is that you can charge this anywhere from 32 degrees Fahrenheit up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I will never get that hot here, of course. Having said that, though, if this was in an enclosed area in the sunlight, the temperature could rise quite high if it's faced into the sun. So it is something to consider, that there is an upper range of how hot you can let this get while you're charging. I'll get to operating in a minute. What is more concerning, maybe to me, and really shouldn't be because I don't foresee getting into this circumstance, is the fact that you can only charge this down to freezing. At freezing, you should not be charging the battery. It can cause damage. In fact, I think the battery management system would shut it off and not allow it to be charged at that as well. It also has a storage temperature range, something to think about. If you're going to be putting this away for the season, or just in the storage you have it, maybe in your RV, on your sailboat, wherever else you're using it, you got to make sure that it will stay between 14 degrees Fahrenheit and 122 degrees Fahrenheit, again, just to prevent damage to the battery. Now, the operating temperatures or discharge temperature is what I'm most interested in. I'll tell you what my alternative use for this is. It won't appear in this video, but I will be showing it in another video, and that is I have one of the small diesel heaters that have become very popular. My use for it will be with hot tent camping, again, another video, but it does need a 12-volt battery like this one to operate off of. Well, if I'm going to be doing camping in the winter, temperatures are going to be going down, right? That's the whole point. So what is the lowest I can operate this battery at? Minus 20 degrees Celsius or minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit, and an upper range of 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, I'm not likely to see those high temperatures. As long as I keep it in a ventilated place, I shouldn't have to worry about the high temperatures. Can it get below minus 20 degrees Celsius here? Yeah, it can. Not often, very rarely, but there are even workarounds for that. As long as it's encased and kept warm, you could use this, or what I'll probably be doing is bring the battery itself inside of the tent to make sure it stays warm in there. I just need an extension long enough to reach the diesel heater on the outside. Now, I want to tell you also that LiTime has a range of batteries with much more integrated technology than this. This is one of their basics. They also have ranges in different sizes and different capacities. This is a 12-volt or nominal voltage, a 12.8 volt battery with a 100 amp capacity in it. Now, you can get 24, I think there's even a 25. There's different ranges, 200 amp batteries, miniature ones, much larger ones than this, of course, ones that have internal heating for them, ones that are Bluetooth enabled so you can monitor your status from a distance if you need to. So there is a lot of technology available with these batteries. I have the most basic one, and I haven't seen a need at all, at this point anyway, to get one that has even more capacity than that. Now, the last thing I want to share with you before moving on to the demonstration of how you can use a battery like this to extend the capacity of your small power station, we need to talk about charging the battery. When it first arrives, it is not at full capacity, so before you even use it the first time, you'll need to bring it up to its full capacity. And of course, at some point, you're going to need to recharge it as well. So there are a couple of ways you can go about doing that. Certainly the easiest, and the one you should consider right up front, is buying a charger that is matched to it. So this is also from LiTime. I'll show you this in operation in a few moments' time. This is a 12 volt or 14.6 delivery volts, 20 amp lithium battery charger. This is specifically matched to batteries like this. You don't want to use just any battery charger. You certainly don't want to use one that's designed for lead acid batteries. Make sure you purchase one that is designed to work with lithium iron phosphate batteries. That's going to be important. Now, what else can you do? How else can you charge this? Can you use solar? I mentioned my scenario was car camping, and I have a 12-volt refrigerator. I have a number of other things, mostly my camera gear, my phones, those types of things, flashlights that need to be recharged. This would charge them for a year, I think, all by itself. But what else can I do to charge this? Well, I have solar panels that I take with me as well. On any good day, I can keep the little power station charged to its maximum. Overnight, it will run it down. So if the next day it's cloudy or raining, that's when I start to get into trouble, or at least I'm concerned that I will run out of power. Again, the reason for looking at expanding the capacity. Can I use those solar panels to charge this battery? The answer is absolutely you can, but you will need one other piece of technology to go with it. You're going to need a DC to DC charge controller with maximum power point tracking technology built into it, MPPT. LiTime does sell those as well, so make sure that if you're looking at charging this up with solar, then you have one of those charge controllers. That's key. Now, the same goes for if you want to charge this off of your vehicle. You want to, while you're traveling to your camping destination, use the vehicle alternator to charge the battery. Again, you can do that. But again, you're going to need that DC to DC charge controller. All important. Don't just plug it into the cigarette lighter. It is not the right current and voltage setup for batteries like this. So that, again, is all important. Now, there are a few other workarounds, if you will, such as if I use my power station and I have the solar panels charging it directly rather than charging the battery, then, if I max out, because it's a good day, and I max out the capacity of the power station, and it's still lots of sunshine and time for it to run, can I use that excess capacity to charge the battery? Yes. Now, there's a couple of different ways of doing this. One of them is iffy, and I say that because, well, it depends on the output voltage, or 12-volt output voltage on your small power station. It has to be greater than the 12 volts of this battery. So if it's 14 plus volts, yeah, you can probably get a full charge on this. If it's anything less than that, and honestly, my little Bluetti does not put out that high a voltage, I can get a partial charge using the DC output from it directly into this. But that's probably, well, if it's not going to give it a full charge, what's the point of doing that? Well, you can go back to using this again. You can use this to charge your battery off of your small power station because, of course, it's going to have an AC inverter in it. It will put power out, and then you'll be able to put that power directly into this unit or another battery of this type. Now, someone's going to say, yes, but there are inverter losses. In other words, just because you're going from DC to AC and then back to DC, you're going to lose some of the efficiency and some of the power, and that's absolutely true. We're talking about excess capacity that the solar is providing you that you otherwise wouldn't have made any use of at all. So you'll have to accept that there will be some losses, but at least if you have that sun is running, or you have a good sunny day, then you might as well use it to keep this up to full capacity. Now quickly, let me just set up and I'll show you how you would use the charger with the battery, and then I'll show you how to use the battery with the power station. All right, to use the 12-volt charger from LiTime, I have, well, number one, plugged it into my house current. Here's the power bar where it's plugged in. I know that it's in ready status because there's a green light flashing to say that power is coming to this unit, but it's not being delivered yet. So just a quick look at the unit itself. It has a bit of weight. I'll be putting all this in the video description below. You can see there's the label on the top. There's a little indicator for the status lights and what each of them means. And then of course you have the cable that's going to go to the battery that you're charging. Now the connectors are the heavy duty Anderson. I've also heard them called forklift connectors. So that's what's included with this kit. Now the other piece of course that came with the charger is the piece you need to attach to the battery. So I have attached obviously the black cable to the negative and the positive cable to the red. So we're all ready to go. Now all I need to do is plug these two connectors in. Very heavy duty, nice secure. Immediately you can hear the fan ramping up on the charging unit, and the indicator light is showing red, which says it is in charge. So once it gets to full charge, it'll start flashing red and the fan will shut off in the unit. And so this also has some smart technology in that it knows what the battery needs. The battery management system knows what it needs. It'll charge it to its full capacity, and then each of these will shut off. So no overcharging to be concerned about. All right, now I'm just going to let that run for a minute or two. I'll bring in my EB3A and I'll show you how you can use this battery to extend its lifetime. All right, in order to charge my EB3A using the LiTime 12-volt 100-amp lithium iron phosphate battery and therefore extend the runtime of my EB3A, I needed to purchase a cable that would do the connection. So the way I chose to do it was to purchase this 12-volt cigarette lighter adapter, auto adapter, whatever you want to call it, that has connection points that I can put directly on the battery. Now it is a fused unit with replaceable fuse. Right now it has a 15 amp fuse in it. I chose this for a reason. My option is to get another cable like the one that came with the EB3A, and this is the one that I would use with the EB3A, but instead of the 12-volt auto plug, it would have had the barrel bolt on the other end that you plug into this, but I would have needed some way of connecting it to the battery anyway. I could have done that in two ways, a set of connections like this or a set of alligator clamps. Either way, I was going to have to purchase a cable of some type or butcher this one up and then it would be useless. So this is the way I chose to go. Reason being is this is not the only power station I may use this battery to keep the charge up on. So all of my power stations came with an auto adapter. So having that allows me to do exactly that. I can match the power station to the battery using the auto connector. All right, so what we're going to do is first I'm going to plug the extension cable or the recharge cable into the battery itself. So now it is live, it is ready to go. Now I'm going to be plugging this into the DC input port right down here at the bottom on this battery, and it is rated at 12 to 28 volts DC to a maximum of 18.5 amps. Now that's good information to know because this means that you match the input to the battery. So I could have used a 24-volt battery, double the size of this, if this was strictly what I was going to be using it for, and I would have had more power going into my unit quicker, so a faster recharge, if you will. Still, this will recharge it, and you'll see how fast in a moment's time. This is also the import that I would use if I was charging this with either the AC wall plug unit or with the external solar connector. So it's the input for all power going into this unit. Now, it is turned on. Let me just bring it up again. Right now, hopefully that's going to show up in the camera. I'll try to make sure it doesn't get glare on it. I have 70% capacity of my battery, nothing going out, nothing coming in. All I need to do now is plug in the power source from the 12-volt battery. It'll take a minute for the battery management system on the inside here to recognize that power is going in, and then it will display. Right now it's showing that I have it's jumping up, 94 watts. 94 watts of power going into this unit from this battery. Now, that's the most I'm going to, well, now it's 95, all right? You don't usually get more than 100 to 110 going from a 12-volt battery into a small power station. It's regulated by the battery management system inside of the power station as well. If I had a 24-volt battery, I would get much greater power going in, but as it is, that's what I'm getting. That's about the same of what I would get from my car. If my car was running, I'd probably bump up just a little bit to about 110, but because this battery is not being recharged right now as it would a car battery would be from your alternator, it's limited it. Well, right now we're at 94 watts. So it will take some time to recharge this battery, but you will have more capacity. Well, like I said, 4 times the original capacity that this battery came with, but you will have saved a whole lot of money not upgrading to a bigger battery. Okay, that's essentially the demonstration I wanted to show you. I think now we can wrap this video up. All right, a few closing thoughts for my LiTime 12-volt 100 amp lithium iron phosphate battery. So again, why would you even consider purchasing one of these? Well, it's because your small battery, while it lived up to your expectations for a while, now you realize it just doesn't have the capacity you want for long-term use of it. It may still have the power you need, just not the battery capacity. And now you're considering, how can I increase my capacity? Your choices were, again, you could buy a much larger unit than this and you would pay a lot more money for it, or you can spend a little less money, actually considerably less money, and purchase a 12-volt lithium iron phosphate battery like this one from LiTime and use it to extend the power of this battery. Now, the nice thing is your 12-volt battery is now going to give you multiple uses that you can use it for, such as if you have an RV, it can go in as part of that system. It can go into your sailboat. It can go use on your trolling motor. It can be used for a number of different things. And of course, what I'm going to be using it for in another demonstration is with my diesel generator for some hot tent camping. So it has multiple uses, meaning it's not only less expensive, but it's a little bit more versatile rather than just jumping up to another power station at greater cost. So that's the reason why you may want to consider one of these. I have had really good experience using the LiTime. It's not long-term. I've only had it for about 4 months, but I've had it enough that I've been able to run the diesel generator, recharge a few of these power stations, and just generally, I know it's here that I can use it whenever I need to. No loss of capacity while it sets and rests. Okay, if you have any comments or questions, please put them in the comments section below. As mentioned, I'll put all the specifications for this unit and the charger in the video description, as well as the links to LiTime, where you can take a look at not only this battery and charger setup, but all the other options that they have available to you. But until next time, get out and explore and take that path less traveled, because it will make all the difference. Bye for now.